Hi and welcome to Creator Fundamentals. My name is Dan Courier and it is my mission to simplify YouTube so you and I can grow together. So YouTube has released new information regarding a change they've made under the efforts to protect minors and families. Yesterday, June 3rd, 2019, YouTube released a post on their official blog. There it is, official, where they talk about a change made to live streaming for minors. In YouTube's normal fashion, it's a bit ambiguous and vague. We'll try to cover it, get an idea of exactly what it means, and I think by the time that we're done with this release, we'll realize that we still don't have all the answers. So basically, YouTube released a blog post. It indicated that their number one priority in protecting minors and families, and they go through all the different stuff that they've done to do that, and then they get into the core of the changes that they're making. Which says, first bullet point is restricting live features. We've updated enforcement of our live streaming policy to specifically disallow younger minors. So first, you couldn't get any more ambiguous than younger minor. What is a younger minor? I think we're going to have to take a look at their enforcement or look for some other reference to the policy to see the exact designation or description of what younger minor means. I would imagine, I wouldn't consider somebody who's 17 to be a younger minor, but it's a little bit ambiguous exactly who they are targeting with this change. But they go on to say, updated our enforcement on live streaming policy to specifically disallow younger minors from live streaming, and this is the other interesting part, unless they are clearly accompanied by an adult. Now, does that mean that the adult actually has to be on the live stream? What do you do in the situation where you're live streaming a game? Do you simply have to hear an adult's voice, or do you have to make the adult present on the live stream? Again, ambiguity there that's not really all that clear in terms of what YouTube is looking for or what your actionable steps are to ensure that you fall in line with this policy. But it goes on to say that channels not in compliance with this policy may lose their ability to live stream, but yet they haven't given you specific actionable information that would allow you to adhere to it because it is so ambiguous. They also talk about how they've disabled comments on videos featuring minors. We already know they did that. They explained that a lot of people felt strongly about how that impacted their channels and their communities negatively, but they said that they strongly believe this is an important step to keep younger people safe on YouTube. Now, a little bit of real talk here. We all know YouTube is a corporation. Their goal is to make money. So as much as they like to say that the goal is to protect the children, it's much more about not looking bad in the media, which affects ad revenue. So I think that in that regard, it is very business driven. Beanie Draws in the live stream says, terms of service say you must be 13 years to have an account. Otherwise, it may be run by the parent. So exactly. So if you have to be at least 13 to be on YouTube in the first place, that leaves 13 to 17 as minors who can actually have a channel on the platform. So where in 13 to 17 does younger minor come into play? That's an interesting question. I don't know how they plan on determining that through video streams, but it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I am imagining that a lot of this might be from people reporting issues. I don't really know. It's going to be really interesting because they really haven't provided any solid core information in this release that tells specifically how they'll make all this determination. They also went in to suggest that they're reducing recommendations, and basically what they indicated here and in other stories is that people who were watching potentially provocative type videos on YouTube were then being recommended videos with children in them, which is super creepy, and I get it. Hopefully in their reduced recommendations, they're going to try to keep those two things separate. It's a little bit disturbing why they're together in the first place, but we've certainly seen controversy in the past where YouTube's algorithm has suggested content next to other content that resulted in an offensive presentation for either the viewer or the people's content who was being presented. So They go into talking about the improvements that they're making and how they are continuing to roll out. But there was a couple things about this that I wanted to talk about with you guys, and that is, do you think this is just going to be their policy going forward, or is this some type of stopgap? The first thing that popped into my head when I heard this information is whether or not YouTube could do something like Amazon does. I have 2 children, and Amazon allows my teenager to have an Amazon account. And basically, anytime she tries to buy something, it sends me an email and I have to approve or decline the purchase. Now, if YouTube could set up a similar situation where you could link YouTube accounts, link an adult, verify the adult, and connect it, link it to the child's account, then in theory, in order to go live on YouTube, you could push a button which then sends a push notification to the adult's account and requires them to sign off and approve it. Now, I don't know if that would suffice or satisfy YouTube in terms of releasing them of the liability they're concerned of, in the sense that they said, hey, we clearly put this in the hands of the parents. The parents have opted to allow the child to do this. So should anything go wrong or any appropriate activity take place, it was solely on the responsibility of the parents. So that's one potential for them that kind of satisfies both sides of the equation. But I'm really interested in seeing whether or not we're looking at a stopgap, with the idea that they're trying to develop technology that can actually do a better job than this, because a lot of the stuff they're doing with kids, while I understand it, it really feels like they're restricting the victims and not doing enough against the actual criminals or the people who are turning innocent children's content into something that has to spark debate. So obviously, they continue to work on that side of it as well, but in the short term, there's definitely a penalty or a burden on the victim in this case to kind of restrict what they're able to do, their livelihood, and building and growing a community here on YouTube. So I do like the Amazon concept. I don't know how feasible it is, but that was what's popped into my head. Amazon's obviously doing it. YouTube is no small player in the game, so I would think if anybody can get that technology, they could certainly do that. But it allows you to verify that the parent is in the loop and allows the parent to parent the child. It's technology. It's all around us today. YouTube doesn't have time to be the parent for all these kids, so I think giving that opportunity, or giving the opportunity to allow that decision to be handed over to the kids or the kids' parents would be a good idea. So is 17 considered too young? Shadow asks. It's really difficult to say. My thought would be no, but they don't get specific. They're specifically vague. They indicate that they are disallowing younger minors. You're only dealing with 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Those are the only minors. There's a 5-year gap of minors that are legally allowed to be on YouTube in accordance with their terms of service, because you have to be at least 13. So that doesn't leave much room to, 13-year-old a younger minor, 14, 15, 16. At what point do you not become a younger minor? So only time will tell how they implement this. YouTube is usually good about putting out this information and give us just enough information to be aggravated about it without giving us a clear sense of how that is all going to pan out. But I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on this situation. I'm going to see if I can scroll back in the comments now that I've kind of presented all this information and see what you guys have to say about it. Is 14 considered too young? See, that's the great unknown question. So unfortunately, we are just going to have to wait and see exactly how they apply that. And is it done by specific age? Is it done by if somebody looks young? What if somebody looks younger than they are, or maybe somebody looks older than they are? How are they actually measuring the age of the person? Are they going strictly by the birth date that somebody puts on their account? So many interesting questions. I am really interested in seeing what everybody thinks and how they're actually going to implement this. So scrolling back to the chat, we got Captain Mario Dude out there. I saw Beanie Draws. I saw Fantastic Joe under one of his accounts. Thank you guys for all coming and hanging out. And having a conversation here about this new information. So I like to hop on live when I hear about this stuff and kind of share it with you, see what you guys think. So definitely let me know if you happen to be watching this video on the replay. Let me know in the comments below if this affects you, whether you think it's a good idea, and what your ideas are on how we could make it better. Don't want to do a super long live stream today. I appreciate you guys coming and hanging out. Just wanted to get the information out there. This video will be available on replay, so if you just hopped into the live stream, YouTube will do its thing and process it, and then you can watch the recap and get all the information. I'll put a link to YouTube's official blog post in the description below.